Welcome to the world of Naruto. This is a story about perseverance, friendship, and the journey from loneliness to acceptance. Let yourself relax as we delve deep into this vast universe of hidden villages, ninja warriors, and the unbreakable bonds that connect them all. Before you begin drifting off to sleep, do consider subscribing to the channel for more anime sleep stories. There are many more of your favorite anime worlds to peacefully explore together. And now, on with our story. Our tale begins in the Hidden Leaf Village, a place where ninja train from childhood to protect their home and honor their traditions. The village sits nestled among forests and mountains, its streets bustling with merchants and shinobi going about their daily lives. At the heart of the village stands the Hokage's office, where the leader watches over all with care and wisdom. But our story truly starts on a night of chaos, 12 years before we meet our hero properly. On the night of October 10th, the village faced its greatest crisis. A massive creature known as the nine-tailed fox attacked without warning. This beast was no ordinary animal. It was a demon of immense power, one of 9 such creatures that existed in the world, each with a different number of tails. The 9 tails was often considered the most powerful of them. The fox's rampage tore through buildings and took many lives. The 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze, knew that defeating such a creature was impossible. Instead, he made a desperate choice. Using a forbidden sealing technique, he split the demon's power in 2 and sealed half of it within himself and half within his newborn son. The technique required his life as payment. As he performed the seal, he had one final wish. He hoped the village would see his son as a hero who contained the beast, not as the demon itself. The baby's name was Naruto Uzumaki. Years passed, and Naruto grew up knowing nothing of his parents or the sacrifice his father made. The 3rd Hokage, who came out of retirement after the 4th's death, kept these secrets to protect the boy. But secrets have a way of causing pain, even when meant with good intentions. The adults of the village knew what Naruto carried inside him, and many could not separate the boy from the beast. They whispered when he passed. They turned away when he approached. Shopkeepers refused to serve him or charged him extra. Parents warned their children to stay away from him. Naruto grew up in loneliness. He had no family, no friends, and no one to guide him. He lived in a small apartment by himself, eating instant ramen most nights because it was cheap and no one taught him to cook anything else. The walls of his home were bare, except for the occasional training scroll he would pick up. He attended the ninja academy like other children, but even there, he found no companionship. The loneliness created something in him that might seem contradictory at first. Rather than becoming quiet and withdrawn, Naruto became the loudest person in any room. He pulled pranks constantly, painting graffiti on the Hokage monument, disrupting classes, and generally causing chaos wherever he went. He had naturally blonde hair and wore a loud orange jumpsuit that made him impossible to ignore. If the village was going to reject him anyway, he reasoned, he might as well be noticed. Negative attention felt better than being invisible. His pranks were actually quite skilled. He would sneak past guards, evade capture, and create elaborate schemes that required planning and ninja techniques. The transformation jutsu, which allowed a ninja to take another person's appearance, became his speciality. He used it constantly in his pranks. What he did not realize was that these pranks were teaching him skills that would serve him well later. He was training himself in stealth, strategy, and the very techniques that ninja used in real missions. One person saw through the pranks to the lonely boy beneath. Iruka Umino was a teacher at the academy, a young man with a scar across his nose and a patient demeanor that most other teachers lacked. Iruka had also lost his parents to the Nine-Tails attack 12 years ago. When he first started teaching Naruto's class, he saw the demon fox when he looked at the boy. But over time, he began to see Naruto himself. He saw a child desperate for acknowledgement, for someone to recognize that he existed and mattered. The relationship between them changed during one particular incident. Naruto had stolen a sacred scroll containing forbidden techniques, tricked into doing so by a treacherous teacher named Mizuki, who wanted the scroll for himself. When Mizuki found Naruto in the forest and tried to take the scroll, he revealed the truth that the village had hidden. He told Naruto about the nine tails sealed inside him, speaking with hatred and contempt. He claimed that everyone in the village hated Naruto and always would. Iruka arrived just as Mizuki prepared to attack the stunned boy. Despite being injured, Iruka placed himself between Mizuki and Naruto. He acknowledged that Naruto was indeed the Nine Tails container, but then he said something that changed everything. He told Naruto that the boy and the beast were not the same. He recognized Naruto's pain, his struggle, his determination. He saw Naruto. Naruto found strength in those words. Using a technique he had learned from the Forbidden Scroll, the Shadow Clone Jutsu, he created hundreds of copies of himself and defeated Mizuki. The Shadow Clone technique was normally forbidden because it divided a person's chakra among all the clones, usually leaving each one too weak to be useful. But Naruto's enormous chakra reserves, a gift from the Nine Tails sealed within him, meant his clones remained strong and numerous. It became his signature technique. After that night, Iruka took Naruto out for ramen at Ichiraku, the one establishment in the village that had always treated Naruto kindly. Iruka gave Naruto his own forehead protector, the headband that marked him as a true ninja of the hidden leaf. It was recognition, acceptance, and acknowledgement all in one gesture. For Naruto, it meant everything. Graduation from the academy led to team assignments. Young ninja were organized into three-person squads under the guidance of an experienced jonin, an elite ninja who would train them further. Naruto found himself assigned to Team 7. His teammates were Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. Their sensei was Kakashi Hatake, a legendary ninja known throughout the villages. Sasuke Uchiha represented everything Naruto was not. He was talented, skilled, and popular. Young girls in the academy admired him. Boys wanted to be like him. He achieved top marks without seeming to try. He came from the prestigious Uchiha clan, famous for their Sharingan eye technique that could copy jutsu and see through illusions. Sasuke was, in every measurable way, Naruto's opposite. But Sasuke carried his own darkness. When he was 7 years old, he came home one evening to find every member of his clan dead. Streets that should have been full of his relatives were silent, except for the bodies. His parents lay dead in their home. The killer was Sasuke's own older brother, Itachi, who Sasuke had loved and admired more than anyone. Itachi had murdered the entire Uchiha clan in a single night. After the slaughter, Itachi told Sasuke that he did it to test his abilities, and that Sasuke should hate him and grow strong enough to kill him one day. The trauma left Sasuke hollow. He attended the academy and performed well, but he formed no real friendships. He focused entirely on becoming stronger so he could eventually face Itachi and kill him. Revenge was his only goal. Everything else was a distraction. When Naruto constantly challenged him and declared them rivals, Sasuke saw only an annoying distraction, someone far below his level who did not deserve his attention. Sakura Haruno was the third member of Team 7. She was a bright student, intelligent and skilled in chakra control. Her knowledge of theory and strategy was excellent, but she lacked confidence in her own abilities, defining herself more by her crush on Sasuke than by her own talents. She had grown up in a normal family with parents who loved her, and she did not understand the darkness that drove either of her teammates. Her rivalry with Ino Yamanaka, her former best friend, centered around who would win Sasuke's affection. She saw Naruto as an annoyance and competition for Sasuke's attention. Kakashi Hatake arrived late to meet his new team, a habit of his that would prove consistent. He was a tall man with silver hair that defied gravity, one eye covered by his forehead protector. The eye beneath that covering was a Sharingan, a gift from a deceased teammate. Kakashi had seen much death in his life and bore the weight of past failures. He had trained under the fourth Hokage, meaning he had known Naruto's father, though this connection was never spoken of. Team 7's first task was not actually a mission. It was a test. Kakashi met them at the training ground with 2 bells in his hand. He explained that they needed to take the bells from him before noon. Those who failed would be sent back to the academy. There were 3 students, but only 2 bells, meaning at least one person would fail, even if they succeeded. The test had a hidden purpose. It was not really about taking the bells. It was about teamwork. Previous teams that Kakashi tested had all failed because they fought individually rather than working together. He wanted to see if Team 7 could figure out that ninja must work as a unit. They failed at first. Sasuke attacked Kakashi directly with impressive skill, but ultimately could not match a Jonin's experience. Kakashi easily subdued him. Sakura was caught in a genjutsu, an illusion that made her think Sasuke was dead. She fainted from the shock. Naruto, predictably, charged in with his shadow clones, but also proved no match for Kakashi's abilities. Kakashi tied Naruto to a post and told the others not to feed him. Then Kakashi left. This was another part of the test. Sasuke and Sakura were supposed to choose between following the rules and helping their teammate. Sasuke, surprisingly, offered Naruto some of his lunch. Sakura followed his lead. When Kakashi returned and saw this, he pretended to be furious. The team braced for punishment. Instead, Kakashi smiled. He explained that those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash. In the ninja world, teamwork and loyalty mattered more than following rules. Team 7 had passed. They were now officially a Genin squad. Their first real missions were decidedly unglamorous. They caught cats, weeded gardens, and helped with shopping. These D-rank missions were standard for new Genin, giving them experience working together on low-risk tasks. Naruto complained constantly. He wanted excitement, adventure, real ninja work. The third Hokage, who assigned missions, tolerated Naruto's complaints with patient amusement. Finally, Kakashi requested a C-rank mission for his team. The mission was to escort a bridge builder named Tazuna back to the Land of Waves and protect him while he completed construction of a bridge. It seemed straightforward. C-rank missions were not supposed to involve combat with other ninja. Team 7 eagerly accepted. They set out with Tazuna, an older man who smelled of alcohol and complained frequently. The journey required traveling by foot and then by boat to reach the Land of Waves, a poor nation without its own hidden village. As they walked through forests on their way to the coast, Kakashi noticed a puddle on the path despite there having been no rain recently. He said nothing, allowing his students to pass it. 2 ninja emerged from the puddle, attacking with chain weapons designed to shred opponents. They wrapped Kakashi in their chains and appeared to tear him apart. Team 7 stood frozen in shock as their sensei seemed to die in front of them. The attackers then turned toward Tazuna, their true target. Sasuke reacted first. He pinned one enemy's chain to a tree with a kunai knife, then used the chain itself as a path to deliver a powerful kick. Naruto, shaking off his fear, engaged the other attacker. The coordination was imperfect, but effective enough to slow the enemies down. Then Kakashi reappeared, unharmed. He had substituted a log for himself before the attack, another basic technique. He quickly subdued both attackers. The ninja were from the Hidden Mist village, known for their brutal training methods and skilled assassins. They were only Chunin level, not particularly strong, but their presence meant the mission was not actually a C rank. C rank missions did not involve ninja combat. Kakashi confronted Tazuna, demanding the truth. Tazuna explained that his country was suffering under the control of a wealthy businessman named Gato. Gato had monopolized all shipping and trade in the Land of Waves, reducing the poor nation to poverty. Tazuna's bridge would break that monopoly by connecting the Land of Waves to the mainland, allowing people to travel and trade without using Gato's ships. Gato had sent assassins to kill Tazuna and prevent the bridge's completion. Tazuna could not afford a B rank or A rank mission, which was what this actually required. He had lied about the mission details to get ninja protection he could afford. Kakashi considered turning back. Continuing was dangerous for his Genin students, but Naruto insisted they continue. He declared that he would protect Tazuna even if it killed him. His determination, reckless as it was, convinced Kakashi to proceed. The team continued to the Land of Waves. They traveled by boat, hiding under cloth to avoid detection by Gato's patrols. When they arrived in the land of waves, they found a nation stripped of hope. People lived in poverty. Gato's thugs controlled everything. Tazuna's bridge represented not just a physical structure, but a symbol of resistance. At Tazuna's home, they met his family. His daughter Tsunami and her son Inari lived with him. Inari was a boy around Naruto's age who wore a white hat and never smiled. He said cruel things about heroes and dreams, insisting they did not exist. Tsunami explained that Inari once believed in heroes, but someone he loved had been killed, and the experience broke something in the boy. The next day, Kakashi took Team 7 to protect Tazuna at the bridge construction site while teaching them tree climbing practice. This was not normal climbing. It was a chakra control exercise. Ninja could channel chakra to their feet and use it to walk up vertical surfaces. The technique required precise control, using exactly the right amount of chakra. Too little, and you fall. Too much, and you repel yourself from the surface. Naruto and Sasuke struggled with the exercise, both too accustomed to using large amounts of chakra rather than fine control. Sakura succeeded almost immediately, her excellent chakra control showing its value. For once, she outperformed both boys, giving her a moment of confidence. While they trained, a more dangerous threat emerged from the morning mist rolling across the bridge. Zabuza Momochi appeared, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. He was a powerful Jonin-level assassin, known for his skill and ruthlessness. His weapon was a massive blade called Kubikira Borcho, a sword as large as a person. Zabuza was on a completely different level from the 2 Chunin they had faced earlier. Kakashi told his students to protect Tazuna while he faced Zabuza. The battle between 2 Jonin was fascinating and terrifying. Zabuza's specialty was silent killing, using mist to hide while striking from unexpected angles. Kakashi revealed his Sharingan eye, using it to predict and counter Zabuza's movements. The two were evenly matched in skill and experience. Zabuza created a massive water prison technique, trapping Kakashi inside a sphere of water that he had to maintain physical contact with. This left Zabuza unable to move far from the prison, but also left Kakashi completely trapped and unable to breathe. Zabuza created a water clone to deal with Team 7 while he held Kakashi. Naruto formulated a desperate plan. He created dozens of shadow clones and attacked the water clone in a frontal assault that seemed foolishly direct. Hidden among the clones was the Demon Wind Shuriken, a massive throwing weapon that Naruto launched towards Zabuza. Zabuza easily deflected it. But a second shuriken had been hidden in the shadow of the first, and that shuriken was actually Sasuke transformed. The combination technique forced Zabuza to release his water prison to defend himself. With Kakashi free, the battle shifted. Kakashi's Sharingan allowed him to copy techniques he saw, earning him the nickname Copy Ninja. He mimicked Zabuza's jutsu, even speaking the technique names at the same moment as Zabuza. This psychological pressure, combined with Kakashi's skill, overwhelmed Zabuza. Before Kakashi could deliver a finishing blow, Senbon needles struck Zabuza in the neck. A masked ninja, wearing a Hunter Nin outfit, appeared, claiming to be from the Hidden Mists tracking unit. Hunter Nin were responsible for hunting down rogue ninja and disposing of their bodies, so their techniques would not fall into enemy hands. The masked ninja thanked Kakashi and left with Zabuza's body. Something troubled Kakashi about the encounter. Hunter Nin normally destroyed bodies on sight, not carried them away. The Senbon had struck Zabuza's neck in a way that induced a death-like state, rather than actually killing. Kakashi realized the masked ninja was likely Zabuza's accomplice, and Zabuza was probably still alive. This meant they had perhaps a week before Zabuza recovered and attacked again. Kakashi pushed Team 7 to train intensively. The tree climbing exercise continued. More importantly, Kakashi began teaching them about teamwork in real combat situations. Sasuke and Naruto finally succeeded in climbing the trees through a combination of determination and, surprisingly, helping each other with insights about chakra control. Inari watched them train, his cynicism gradually cracking. Naruto's relentless optimism confused him. How could someone smile like that and believe in dreams? Inari told Naruto that he knew nothing about suffering or pain. Naruto snapped back with rare anger, sharing just enough about his own loneliness that Inari realized Naruto understood pain very well. The difference was that Naruto refused to let pain define him. The second attack came when they least expected it. Naruto and Sasuke were away from Tazuna's house when Gato's thugs attacked, attempting to kidnap Tsunami and Inari. Naruto arrived in time, defeating the thugs and saving them. His speech about never giving up and protecting important people reached Inari in a way nothing else had. The boy finally cried, releasing grief he had held inside, and began to hope again. At the bridge, Zabuza returned with his accomplice. The masked ninja was a boy named Haku, young and beautiful, with a gentle manner that seemed at odds with his skills as an assassin. Haku engaged Sasuke in battle using an ice-style technique that created a dome of ice mirrors. From within the mirrors, Haku could move at seemingly impossible speeds, striking from multiple angles faster than most people could track. Sasuke was trapped inside the dome with no way to counter the technique. Naruto charged into the dome to help Sasuke, despite Kakashi's orders to protect Tazuna. The two boys fought back-to-back against Haku's relentless assault. Sasuke began to awaken something in response to the extreme danger. His Sharingan, which had first manifested during the night of the Uchiha massacre but lay dormant since, now activated consciously for the first time. With the Sharingan, Sasuke could track Haku's movements, but Haku's speed still overwhelmed them. When Haku prepared to strike Naruto with a fatal blow, Sasuke threw himself in front of the attack. Multiple Senbon needles pierced his body. He collapsed, apparently dead. Something changed in Naruto at that moment. Rage and grief flooded through him, but it was not entirely his own emotion. The nine tails within him responded to the intense negative feelings, and its chakra began leaking out. Naruto's eyes turned red. His whisker marks deepened. An aura of malevolent energy surrounded him as the demon fox's power surged through his body. In this state, Naruto moved with speed and power that terrified even Haku. The boy who moments ago had seemed hopelessly outmatched was now overwhelming a skilled assassin. Naruto broke through the ice mirrors and prepared to kill Haku. At the last moment, Naruto's consciousness reasserted control and he stopped the fatal blow. Haku removed his mask, revealing his face and asking why Naruto hesitated. Their conversation was interrupted by a more pressing crisis. Kakashi had defeated Zabuza and was about to deliver the final strike. Haku moved with desperate speed, placing himself between Kakashi's lightning-enhanced attack and Zabuza. Kakashi's hand pierced through Haku's chest. The boy died with a smile, happy to have been useful to the person he loved most. Zabuza seemed unmoved by Haku's sacrifice at first, declaring that the boy was merely a tool. Naruto exploded in fury at this callousness, shouting at Zabuza about Haku's devotion and love. The words broke through Zabuza's defensive coldness. The swordsman had cared deeply for Haku, but could not express it, trapped in the mindset that ninja were tools. Tears ran down Zabuza's face as he acknowledged what Haku truly meant to him. Before any reconciliation could occur, Gato arrived with an army of thugs. The businessman revealed his betrayal. He never intended to pay Zabuza. His plan was to let the ninja fight Team 7, then kill whoever survived while they were weakened. Gato even insulted Haku's body, kicking it disrespectfully. Zabuza's rage was terrible. Despite his injuries and inability to use his arms, he grabbed a kunai in his teeth and charged into Gato's army. He killed Gato himself before the thugs overwhelmed him. Zabuza collapsed next to Haku's body, asking Kakashi to place them together so he could see the boy's face one last time. The army of thugs remained, prepared to destroy the bridge and kill everyone present. Then, Inari arrived with the people of the Land of Waves. The entire community had armed themselves with whatever weapons they could find and come to defend their bridge. The thugs, seeing organized resistance rather than helpless victims, fled. Team 7 remained in the Land of Waves until Tazuna completed his bridge. The structure became a symbol of hope restored. When they prepared to leave, Tazuna revealed the bridge's name. He called it the Great Naruto Bridge, honoring the ninja who taught them to believe again. Naruto cried with happiness, the recognition meaning more than he could express. The journey back to the Hidden Leaf village was quieter. They had all changed during the mission. Naruto had touched the Nine-Tails' power for the first time, a dangerous development that Kakashi noted with concern. Sasuke had awakened his Sharingan, but had also experienced genuine fear and vulnerability. Sakura had seen her teammates nearly die and recognized her own comparative weakness. Kakashi had been reminded that his students were children who had now experienced real combat and death. Upon returning to the village, they submitted their mission report and received payment. Team 7 continued with D-rank missions for a time, the mundane tasks feeling almost refreshing after their near-death experience. But the ninja world never stays quiet for long. The third Hokage announced the Chunin selection exams, a twice-yearly event where Genin teams could test for promotion to Chunin rank. Teams from allied villages would compete in a series of challenges designed to test skills essential for ninja of higher rank. Kakashi nominated Team 7 to participate, confident they were ready despite having graduated only recently. The Chunin exams began with a written test, a psychological challenge designed by Ibiki Morino, head of the Hidden Leaf's torture and interrogation unit. The test questions were intentionally beyond what Genin should be able to answer. The real test was whether candidates had the ninja skills to gather information through observation and stealth, essentially cheating without getting caught. Those caught cheating 5 times were disqualified, along with their entire team. Naruto could not answer a single question legitimately. His academic knowledge had always been his weakness, but he refused to cheat, partly from stubbornness and partly from fear of letting his teammates down. He sat paralyzed before the blank paper, sweating as time passed. Around him, other candidates used various techniques to steal answers. Sasuke used his newly awakened Sharingan to copy another person's pencil movements. Sakura, intelligent enough to answer the questions herself, simply wrote what she knew. The 10th question came with a cruel condition. Candidates could choose not to answer it, but doing so would disqualify them forever from taking the Chunin exams again. Those who stayed but answered incorrectly would also be permanently disqualified. The pressure was immense. Naruto's hand trembled as he prepared to raise it and quit, unable to risk ruining his teammates' futures. Then his determination crystallized. He slammed his hand down on the desk and declared that he would not quit, even if it meant staying a Genin forever. He would become Hokage regardless. His defiance inspired others in the room to stay as well. Ibiki smiled and announced that everyone remaining had passed. There was no 10th question. The real test was whether they would accept the mission despite the risk, as real ninja must do in the field. The second exam took place in the Forest of Death, a dangerous training ground filled with wild animals and deadly terrain. Teams received either a Heaven Scroll or Earth Scroll. They had 5 days to reach a tower in the forest center, bringing both scroll types with them. This required teams to ambush each other and steal scrolls, creating a survival exercise where the enemies were other ninja candidates. Team 7 faced their first major challenge within hours. A ninja using the name of a Hidden Grass Village candidate attacked them with a power and skill far beyond what a Genin should possess. This person's chakra felt wrong, malevolent, and ancient. The attacker was actually Orochimaru, one of the 3 legendary Sannin and a former student of the third Hokage, who had become a criminal obsessed with achieving immortality through forbidden jutsu. Orochimaru focused his attention on Sasuke, declaring the boy worthy of his interest. He overwhelmed Team 7 effortlessly, showing them the gulf between a Genin and a Sannin. Before leaving, Orochimaru bit Sasuke on the neck, placing a cursed seal on him. The seal burned with dark power, promising increased strength while slowly corrupting the user's mind. Sasuke collapsed from the pain of the cursed seal. Team 7 found shelter while he recovered, with Sakura standing guard through the night. Sound Ninja attacked, seeking to eliminate Sasuke while he was vulnerable. Sakura fought desperately to protect her unconscious teammates, showing courage even as she was clearly outmatched. Rock Lee arrived to help, then Sasuke awakened with the cursed seal's power flooding through him. He defeated the sound ninja with disturbing ease and cruelty, the seal already affecting his personality. Team 7 eventually collected both scrolls and reached the tower. They were not the first team to arrive, but they passed within the time limit. The second exam's survivors gathered in the tower for the third phase announcement. Too many teams had passed for the third exam to be conducted as originally planned. A preliminary round was needed to reduce numbers. The preliminaries consisted of one-on-one matches, randomly selected. Sasuke fought against Yori Akado, a sound ninja who could absorb chakra through touch. Despite the cursed seal causing him pain, Sasuke won by using the lion combo, a taijutsu technique he had copied from Rock Lee's movements using his Sharingan. After Sasuke's match, Kakashi took him away to place a seal over Orochimaru's cursed mark. This would not remove it, but would make it harder for the cursed seal's power to leak out and corrupt Sasuke. Kakashi warned Sasuke about the danger of relying on the seal's power, but his words fell on partially deaf ears. Sasuke had felt the cursed seal's strength and wanted more power to face Itachi. Naruto's match was against Kiba Inuzuka and his ninja dog Akamaru. Kiba's clan specialized in fighting alongside dogs, using enhanced senses and combination techniques. The battle seemed to favor Kiba at first. He was faster, more tactical, and had Akamaru as backup. But Naruto's unpredictability and stubborn refusal to give up turned the fight. Using a combination of shadow clones and the transformation jutsu in a creative way, Naruto defeated both Kiba and Akamaru. Sakura faced Ino Yamanaka, her former best friend. Their relationship had fractured over their rivalry for Sasuke's affection. The match became intensely personal. Ino used her clan's mind transfer jutsu, projecting her consciousness into Sakura's body to take control. Inside Sakura's mind, inner Sakura, a representation of the girl's suppressed confidence and strength, threw Ino out. The match ended in a double knockout, with neither advancing. Another match carried weight beyond simple advancement. Neji Hyuga faced Hinata Hyuga, and their battle represented more than just two skilled ninja competing. It represented the deep divisions within the Hyuga clan itself. Hinata was the eldest daughter of the clan's main family, heir to their leadership. Neji was her cousin from the branch family, born to serve and protect the main family. A cursed seal on Neji's forehead allowed the main family to inflict pain or death on branch members at will, ensuring their loyalty through fear. Neji harbored deep resentment toward this system. His father had died to protect a main family member, sacrificed because branch family members were considered expendable. Neji had grown bitter, developing a philosophy that destiny controlled everything. People were born into their roles and could not escape them. The strong were born strong. The weak stayed weak. Hinata, as gentle and kind as she was, represented everything Neji hated about the clan structure. She had been born with privilege and power simply because of which family line she belonged to. Hinata, for her part, had always struggled with the expectations placed on her. Her father considered her weak and disappointing, favoring her younger sister. Hinata's gentle nature made her reluctant to hurt others, which her father saw as weakness in a clan built on combat. Naruto's determination had inspired Hinata. Watching someone who never gave up despite being rejected by everyone had given her courage. She entered this match wanting to prove herself, to show her cousin that people could change their fate. When the match began, both fighters activated their Byakugan, the Hyuga clan's eye technique that allowed them to see chakra flow and perceive in all directions. Their hands moved in the traditional gentle fist style, a fighting technique that struck opponents' chakra points directly. Unlike normal taijutsu that damaged through physical force, the gentle fist could shut down an opponent's chakra system with precise strikes. Neji dominated the match from the start. His skill was far superior, honed through years of bitter training. He struck Hinata's chakra points with precision, closing them off one by one. Each strike weakened her ability to use chakra. His words were even more cutting than his physical attacks. He told Hinata she was weak and would always be weak. He said she was not suited to be a ninja. He claimed she was only in the exam because she was from the main family, implying she had been given advantages she did not deserve. Hinata struggled to stand under the assault, but she would not give up. Naruto's example burned in her heart. He had taught her that determination mattered more than natural talent. She had watched him refuse to quit countless times. Even as Neji closed off her chakra points and damaged her internal organs, Hinata kept standing up. Blood trickled from her mouth, her legs trembled, but she would not admit defeat. Neji was confused and then angered by her persistence. He had struck her chakra points. She should not be able to use chakra at all, yet she remained standing through sheer willpower. He told her she was just prolonging her suffering, that her destiny was to fail. Hinata responded that Neji was the one suffering under the weight of his hatred. She said destiny could be changed. She said she was not weak anymore because she had found the courage to believe in herself. Her words enraged Neji. He moved to deliver a killing blow, charging forward with a strike aimed at her heart. The Jonin instructors intervened just in time, with multiple teachers appearing to stop Neji's attack. Hinata collapsed, coughing blood. Medics rushed her away on a stretcher. She had lost the match, but she had proven something important. She had faced her fears and fought with everything she had. She had not backed down even when facing death. That was not weakness. That was courage. In the stands, Naruto clenched his fists in fury. He had watched Hinata fight with such determination, inspired by his own example. Seeing her hurt and dismissed as weak made him furious. He shouted at Neji, promising he would defeat him in the finals. This was no longer just about advancement. This was personal. Naruto would show Neji that destiny was not fixed, that hard work and determination could overcome the circumstances of birth. He would prove it by defeating a genius from a legendary clan, proving that the dead last student could surpass those born with every advantage. The most significant preliminary match involved Rock Lee against Gaara of the Sand. Gaara was a genin from the Hidden Sand Village, a boy with red hair and dead eyes who carried a gourd of sand on his back. The sand automatically protected him from any attack, moving faster than conscious thought. No one had ever injured him. His presence radiated menace. Even standing still, Gaara seemed dangerous in a way that made other candidates uncomfortable. Lee was his opposite in every way. Where Gaara was cold and detached, Lee burned with passion. Lee could not use ninjutsu or genjutsu at all. His chakra system simply did not work properly for those techniques. In a world where ninja power came from mastering jutsu, Lee had been written off as talentless. But his instructor, Might Guy, had taught him that hard work could overcome natural genius. Lee trained in taijutsu with fanatical dedication, pushing his body beyond normal limits through sheer willpower. When the match began, Lee attacked with impressive speed. His movements were crisp and efficient, the result of countless hours of practice. But Gaara's sand defense activated automatically, forming a barrier before Lee's strikes could connect. The sand moved independently of Gaara's will, responding to danger faster than conscious thought. Lee's punches and kicks hit the sand wall and stopped, unable to reach Gaara himself. Lee tried various approaches. He attacked from different angles. He increased his speed. He used feints and combinations. Nothing worked. The sand adapted to every strategy, always forming its shield just in time. Gaara stood motionless in the center of his defense, not even bothering to watch Lee's efforts. His arms remained crossed. His expression never changed. It was as if Lee was not worth his attention. Then Lee spoke to his instructor, asking permission to remove his weights. Guy hesitated, but eventually agreed, knowing this match might be Lee's only chance to prove himself. Lee reached down to his orange leg warmers and unwrapped them. Beneath were weighted training bands, metal rings that Lee wore constantly to build his strength and speed. When he dropped them to the ground, they hit with a thunderous crash. The floor cracked from the impact. The weights were so heavy that Lee had been fighting with massive resistance on every movement. Without the weights, Lee moved at a speed that shocked everyone watching. He became a blur of motion, attacking Gaara from multiple angles faster than most people could track. Even Sasuke's Sharingan struggled to follow Lee's movements. For the first time in the match, Gaara's sand began to lag behind. Lee's fist connected with Gaara's face. It was the first time anyone had struck Gaara directly. The punch broke something in Gaara beyond just his perfect defense. Blood trickled from his forehead, where Lee's wrapped hand had connected. Gaara touched his face and looked at the blood on his fingers with an expression of shock and then rage. Someone had hurt him. The impossible had happened. Lee pressed his advantage. He used a technique called the primary lotus, a forbidden move that his instructor had explicitly told him never to use except to protect someone precious. Lee moved behind Gaara at incredible speed, kicked him into the air, and then wrapped him with bandages. As they spun downward together, Lee drove Gaara head first toward the ground with devastating force. The impact created a crater in the arena floor. Dust billowed up from the destruction, but when the dust cleared, Gaara stood unharmed. A shell of sand had protected him at the last moment, taking the impact while Gaara's body remained safe inside. The technique that should have ended the match had failed. Lee stood breathing hard, having used enormous chakra and physical energy on the primary lotus. Gaara's armor of sand cracked and fell away, but the boy beneath was unmarked. Lee had one option left, a technique even more forbidden than the primary lotus. The hidden lotus required opening the 8 gates, limiters in the body that restricted chakra flow to prevent self-destruction. By opening these gates, a ninja could access reserves of power far beyond their normal limits, but at terrible cost to their body. Guy had told Lee that this technique should only be used to protect the most precious people, and even then only when facing death. But Lee saw no other path to victory. He opened the gates one by one, each releasing a surge of power through his body. His skin flushed red. Steam rose from his muscles. His speed increased beyond what anyone thought possible for a genin. He attacked Gaara with the full force of the hidden lotus, striking so fast that his fists seemed to be everywhere at once. The barrage of blows drove Gaara backward, each impact landing before the sand could form its defense. For a moment, it seemed Lee might actually win. He had pushed himself to the absolute limit and beyond. He had opened gates that could cripple him permanently. He fought with everything he had, proving that hard work and determination could challenge even the most overwhelming natural advantage. Everyone watching understood they were seeing something extraordinary, a taijutsu specialist pushing the limits of what the human body could achieve. But Gaara's sand had one final defense. His gourd of sand exploded outward, creating a massive wave that caught Lee mid-attack. The sand wrapped around Lee's arm and leg, holding him immobilized in the air. Lee struggled, but could not break free. His body had already used all its strength. The gates were closing, and the damage from opening them was beginning to manifest. His muscles trembled, his breathing became labored. Gaara's expression was cold as he crushed the captured limbs. The sand constricted with terrible force. Lee's arm bent at an unnatural angle, his leg fractured with a sound that made people in the audience flinch. Lee screamed in agony. The match was over, but Gaara did not stop. The sand began to cover more of Lee's body, intent on crushing him completely. Gaara wanted to kill Lee, to prove his existence through taking another's life. Guy appeared in a flash of movement, catching Lee before the killing blow could land. The referee declared Gaara the winner. Medics rushed to Lee's side, but their expressions were grim. The damage to his arm and leg was severe. Combined with the trauma from opening the 8 gates, Lee's career as a ninja appeared to be finished. He had given everything, proven his worth, shown that hard work could challenge genius. But the price might have been his dream. The preliminaries concluded with 8 winners advancing to the final exam. They included Naruto, Sasuke, Neji Hyuga, Shikamaru Nara, Shino Aburame, Gaara, Tamari, and Kankuro. The final exam would take place in 1 month, giving candidates time to train and heal. It would be held in a public stadium with lords and nobility watching, including the leaders of various nations. The finals were not just a test, but a demonstration of each village's military strength, a way to attract mission contracts and show power without actual warfare. During the month of preparation, Naruto received special training from Jiraiya, one of the 3 legendary Sannin and the 3rd Hokage's student. Jiraiya was a powerful ninja known as the Toad Sage, though he was also a self-proclaimed super pervert who wrote inappropriate novels. Beneath his ridiculous exterior was a ninja of extraordinary skill and wisdom. Jiraiya taught Naruto to summon toads, creatures from Mount Myoboku, who could fight alongside ninja who signed a contract with them. The summoning technique required large amounts of chakra, making it perfect for Naruto. But the real training involved teaching Naruto to access the Nine-Tails chakra deliberately, rather than accidentally. Jiraiya pushed Naruto off a cliff to force the issue. As Naruto plummeted toward death, he entered his own subconscious mind. There he found a massive cage with a paper seal on its bars. Behind the bars was the Nine-Tails itself, a fox of enormous size with intelligence and malice in its eyes. The demon mocked Naruto and demanded he remove the seal. Naruto refused, but demanded the demon give him some chakra as rent for living in his body. The audacity of this request amused the Nine-Tails enough that it complied. With the demon's chakra flooding through him, Naruto summoned Gamabunta, the chief toad and one of the most powerful summons available. The giant toad caught Naruto before he hit the ground. Gamabunta was gruff and skeptical of Naruto, but the boy's determination gradually earned the toad's respect. By the end of the month, Naruto could summon Gamabunta reliably and had learned to ask the Nine-Tails for chakra when needed, though the process remained dangerous and could let the demon's consciousness leak through. Sasuke trained under Kakashi, learning the Chidori, a lightning-based assassination technique that concentrated chakra in the hand to pierce through anything. The technique required the Sharingan to use effectively because the user moved at such high speed that they could not react to counterattacks without the eye's ability to predict movements. The Chidori represented a significant increase in Sasuke's offensive capabilities. Sakura received no special training for the finals since she had not advanced past the preliminaries. This stung her pride and highlighted the gap between her and her teammates. She began considering how she could become stronger and more useful. The day of the finals arrived with fanfare and anticipation. The stadium filled with spectators from across the nations. Lords and nobles sat in special viewing boxes. The third Hokage presided over the event alongside the fourth Kazekage, leader of the Hidden Sand Village. Kakashi arrived late, as usual, bringing Sasuke with him just as the matches were about to begin. The first match paired Naruto against Neji Hyuga. Neji was a genius from the Hyuga clan, possessing the Byakugan Eye technique that allowed him to see chakra flow and strike with precision to block an opponent's chakra points. More than his skill, Neji possessed a bitter philosophy. He believed in destiny, that people's fates were predetermined and struggle was meaningless. The strong were born strong, the weak stayed weak. Effort could not change what fate decided. This philosophy stemmed from his position in the Hyuga clan. The clan was divided into the main family and the branch family. The main family ruled, while the branch family served, marked with a cursed seal that allowed the main family to inflict pain or death at will. Neji's father had been sacrificed to protect a main family member, and Neji carried deep resentment about the injustice of the system. Naruto represented everything Neji's philosophy rejected. Naruto had no natural talent, no special bloodline, no advantages. He succeeded through pure determination and hard work. The match became a clash of worldviews as much as a physical battle. Neji dominated the fight initially. His Byakugan saw Naruto's chakra points, and his gentle fist technique struck them precisely, blocking Naruto's chakra flow. He even struck the seal on Naruto's stomach, where the Nine-Tails was contained, disrupting Naruto's ability to access that power. Naruto collapsed, unable to stand as his chakra system was damaged. Neji declared victory and spoke about fate and failure. Naruto should accept his destiny as a loser. But Naruto's Nine-Tails chakra began to heal the damage to his chakra points, something that should have been impossible. Naruto stood up again and again, refusing to accept Neji's words. The battle intensified. Naruto created a massive number of shadow clones, overwhelming Neji's defenses through sheer numbers. When Neji used his ultimate defense technique, rotation, which created a sphere of spinning chakra that repelled attacks. Naruto dug underground and struck from below, where Neji could not defend. As Neji fell, defeated, Naruto spoke about his own suffering and how he had been called a failure his entire life. But he never accepted that label. He never stopped trying. Destiny was not fixed. People could change their fates through effort and determination. The crowd roared with approval as Naruto was declared the winner. Neji's worldview shattered. After the match, his uncle from the main family spoke to him for the first time about the truth of his father's death. Neji's father had not been sacrificed unwillingly. He had chosen to die in place of his brother because he loved his family. The letter he left behind spoke of breaking the chains of destiny and his hope that Neji would be free. The cursed seal could not bind someone's heart. Neji wept, the bitterness that had poisoned him beginning to dissolve. Shino Aburame faced Kankuro, and through clever use of his insects, forced Kankuro to forfeit. Tamari defeated Tenten through superior range and strategy. But the match everyone anticipated was Sasuke against Gaara. Gaara was not just a skilled ninja. He was also a Jinchuriki like Naruto, containing the one-tailed beast Shukaku. Unlike Naruto's seal, which was stable, Gaara's seal was imperfect. Shukaku's consciousness leaked through constantly, filling Gaara with bloodlust and driving him toward violence. Gaara's father, the Kazekage, had deliberately created Gaara as a weapon, then rejected him when the boy proved unstable. Gaara grew up with even worse isolation than Naruto, with additional layers of his village actually trying to assassinate him multiple times during his childhood. This created in Gaara a philosophy of existing only for himself, killing to prove he existed. His sand automatically killed anyone who threatened him, or sometimes just anyone nearby. The blood he spilled became validation of his existence. When Sasuke finally arrived and the match began, the two proved evenly matched in speed and strategy. Sasuke's Chidori pierced through Gaara's ultimate defense for the first time in Gaara's life, drawing blood. The injury both terrified and excited Gaara, whose mental state began to fracture. Before the match could conclude, feathers began falling from the sky. This was a genjutsu designed to put the audience to sleep. Sound Ninja and Sand Ninja revealed themselves, attacking the Hidden Leaf Ninja throughout the stadium. The invasion had begun. Orochimaru revealed himself, having been disguised as the Kazekage after killing the real one days earlier. He trapped the third Hokage on the stadium roof and summoned 2 coffins that released the reanimated dead. The first Hokage and second Hokage emerged from the coffins, legendary ninja from the village's founding, now under Orochimaru's control through a forbidden technique called reanimation jutsu. The third Hokage faced his former student and the previous Hokage alone, knowing this might be his final battle. He fought with the skill and knowledge of decades, countering techniques and protecting his village, even as age limited his stamina. Below, Sasuke pursued Gaara into the forest, obsessed with proving his strength. Naruto, Sakura, and Shikamaru followed on Kakashi's orders to stop Sasuke before he got himself killed. What should have been Gaara's siblings' mission to take him home became a battle for survival as Gaara's control slipped away. In the forest, Gaara's transformation began. Shukaku's form started emerging, Gaara's body warping into a monstrous version of the tailed beast. Sasuke's Chidori proved ineffective against this new form. When Gaara's sand caught Sasuke and began crushing him, Naruto intervened. The battle between 2 Jinchuriki shook the forest. Naruto summoned Gamabunta to fight Gaara's partial Shukaku transformation. The giant toad fought against the sand demon, while Naruto tried to reach Gaara's consciousness. When Gaara completed his transformation and Shukaku fully manifested, Naruto woke the beast's host by using a combination attack that headbutted Gaara's true body hidden at the top of Shukaku's head. Both boys fell to the ground, exhausted and broken. Gaara questioned why Naruto kept fighting for others when he could simply live for himself. Naruto explained that people who cared about him gave him strength. His friends were the source of his power. Loneliness was the worst kind of suffering, but having people to protect made any pain bearable. These words reached something deep in Gaara. For the first time, He saw an alternative to his philosophy of isolation and violence. Gaara retreated with his siblings. The invasion failed, but he took with him a new understanding. He did not have to be a monster. Connection was possible. Back on the stadium roof, the third Hokage faced impossible odds. The first and second Hokage were effectively immortal in their reanimated state, regenerating from any damage. Orochimaru was a genius who knew every technique the third Hokage might use. The old man's body could not keep pace with his mind and experience. The third Hokage made a desperate decision. He summoned the Reaper Death Seal, the same forbidden technique the fourth Hokage used against the Nine Tails. The technique required the user's soul as payment. A spectral being called the Reaper appeared behind the third Hokage, visible only to those involved in the jutsu. The third Hokage used the Reaper to seal the souls of the first and second Hokage, removing them from battle. Then he tried to seal Orochimaru completely, but his aged body lacked the strength. He managed only to seal Orochimaru's arms, leaving the criminal unable to use hand signs and therefore unable to use most jutsu. The technique's cost was paid. The third Hokage's soul was consumed by the Reaper. Before dying, the old man spoke to Orochimaru with sadness rather than anger. He had failed as a teacher, unable to save his student from darkness. He hoped someone in the next generation would succeed where he failed. Then he died with a peaceful expression, his final act protecting the village he loved. The Hidden Leaf grieved. The third Hokage had led them through multiple wars and countless crises. He was beloved as a grandfather figure to many. His funeral drew the entire village. Naruto, who had viewed the third Hokage as one of the few people who truly acknowledged him, cried openly. The loss reminded everyone that even the strongest ninja eventually fell. The village needed a new Hokage urgently. The position could not remain empty, with enemies watching for weakness. Jiraiya was the obvious choice, but he refused the responsibility. Instead, he suggested Tsunade, the third of the legendary Sannin. She was the granddaughter of the first Hokage and widely regarded as the world's greatest medical ninja. If anyone had the skill and lineage to become Hokage, it was her. The problem was finding Tsunade. She had left the village years ago and wandered from place to place, gambling and drinking. Jiraiya and Naruto set out to search for her, beginning a journey that would take them across multiple towns and through various adventures. They found her eventually in a town famous for its castle. Tsunade looked young despite being over 50 years old, maintaining her appearance through jutsu. She traveled with her assistant Shizune and a pet pig named Tonton. When Jiraiya proposed she return as Hokage, Tsunade laughed bitterly and refused. She had lost faith in the position of Hokage and in the village itself. Her younger brother Nawaki and her lover Dan had both died pursuing their dreams of becoming Hokage. She had watched them die, unable to save them despite her medical skills. The necklace she wore had belonged to her grandfather, the first Hokage, and she had given it to both Nawaki and Dan. Both died shortly after. She now viewed the necklace and the title of Hokage as cursed. Naruto challenged her perspective with his usual lack of tact. He declared he would become Hokage regardless of what she thought. Tsunade, annoyed, made a bet. If Naruto could master the Rasengan technique in 1 week, she would acknowledge him and give him her necklace. The Rasengan was a technique created by the fourth Hokage that took him 3 years to develop. It was considered impossible for a genin to learn in a week. Naruto threw himself into training with desperate intensity. Jiraiya taught him the 3 stages of the Rasengan. First, rotation. The user had to spin their chakra in multiple directions simultaneously. Second, power. The user had to increase the chakra volume and density to make the spinning sphere devastating. Third, control. The user had to maintain the sphere without it dispersing. The fourth Hokage never completed a 4th stage he envisioned, which would add an element to the Rasengan. But even the 3 stages proved extraordinarily difficult. Naruto struggled with the control necessary, his usual method of overwhelming problems with chakra and determination not working for a technique that required precise manipulation. During this training period, Orochimaru found Tsunade. Unable to use his arms and desperate for healing, he offered her a devil's bargain. He would revive her brother and lover using the reanimation jutsu if she healed his arms. Tsunade, who had dreamed of seeing them again for decades, was tempted despite knowing it was wrong. The moral weight of the decision crushed her. To heal Orochimaru meant betraying the hidden leaf. The criminal would use his restored powers to kill more people, potentially destroying the village her grandfather founded. But to refuse meant accepting that Nawaki and Dan were truly gone forever. Naruto completed the Rasengan in the predicted week through an improvisation. Unable to maintain the rotation, power, and control simultaneously, he used a shadow clone to help. One clone created the rotation, another added power, while Naruto himself maintained control and shape. It was collaborative jutsu, using shadow clones as extensions of himself. The technique worked, though it was not the pure form the fourth Hokage created. When Tsunade met Orochimaru to give her answer, she chose the hidden leaf. She attacked Orochimaru instead of healing him, declaring that she would never betray her village. Orochimaru's subordinate Kabuto and the Sound Four engaged Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Naruto in battle. Tsunade revealed why she looked young. She used a jutsu that constantly maintained her appearance while keeping her true strength sealed. When she released the jutsu, her full power emerged. Her physical strength was legendary, capable of shattering boulders with a finger. Her medical knowledge meant she knew exactly where to strike for maximum damage. But Tsunade had developed hemophobia after watching Nawaki and Dan bleed to death. The sight of blood paralyzed her, making her unable to fight effectively when injured. Kabuto exploited this, cutting her and watching her freeze in terror. Naruto protected her, taking injuries meant for the paralyzed woman. Naruto's willingness to die, protecting her, broke through Tsunade's trauma. This boy reminded her of Nawaki and Dan, possessing the same reckless courage and determination. She saw in Naruto the same dream that drove them. When Kabuto prepared to kill Naruto, Tsunade found her strength. She overcame her phobia and protected Naruto in turn. The battle concluded with Orochimaru and Kabuto retreating, unable to overcome two legendary Sannin working together. Tsunade, moved by Naruto's spirit, gave him her necklace. The curse, if it ever existed, was broken. Naruto had earned her acknowledgement and her hope. Tsunade returned to the Hidden Leaf as the fifth Hokage. Her first acts as leader included establishing better medical protocols for ninja teams and beginning the village's recovery from the invasion. She also focused on healing Rock Lee, whose injuries from his battle with Gaara had been deemed permanent. Through risky surgery, she gave Lee a chance to fight again, though recovery would be long and uncertain. Life returned to some normalcy. Naruto continued missions with Team 7, though the tension between him and Sasuke grew. Sasuke obsessed over his weakness. He had trained for the finals, received personal instruction from Kakashi, awakened his Sharingan, and still could not defeat Gaara without Naruto's help. The gap he thought he was closing seemed to remain constant, or even widen. The cursed seal Orochimaru placed on Sasuke whispered constantly of power. It promised strength that his current training could not match. Orochimaru wanted Sasuke as a vessel for his body-switching technique, a way for the criminal to gain the Sharingan permanently. To lure Sasuke to him, Orochimaru sent the Sound Four to deliver a message and an offer. Itachi's return to the Hidden Leaf made Sasuke's crisis acute. The elder Uchiha brother entered the village briefly with his partner Kisame, both members of the criminal organization Akatsuki. Their mission was to capture Naruto and extract the Nine-Tails, part of Akatsuki's larger plan to collect all nine-tailed beasts. Itachi and Kisame demonstrated power far beyond what Sasuke could challenge. When Sasuke found Itachi and attempted to kill him with Chidori, Itachi effortlessly countered and then trapped Sasuke in a genjutsu called Tsukuyomi. Within the illusion, Sasuke experienced 72 hours of torture in an instant of real time. Itachi forced Sasuke to relive the Uchiha massacre repeatedly, breaking his brother's mind. Kakashi and Jiraiya drove Itachi and Kisame away, but the damage was done. Sasuke lay in a hospital bed, trapped in his own mind. Tsunade healed him eventually, but the psychological scars ran deeper. Sasuke had trained intensely for years to face Itachi, and his brother had dismissed him as not even worth killing. The humiliation and powerlessness became unbearable. When the Sound Four came to the hospital, where Sasuke recovered and offered him Orochimaru's power, Sasuke's resolve wavered. They placed a cursed seal on each of their own bodies to gain strength. The power transformation was visible and dramatic. If Sasuke came with them to Orochimaru, he could achieve similar strength. All it required was abandoning the hidden leaf. Sasuke wrestled with the decision. His bonds with Team 7 had grown real. He cared about Naruto and Sakura, even if he rarely expressed it. He respected Kakashi. The village was his home. But Itachi existed beyond his current ability to challenge. Orochimaru's power offered a path to revenge. Sakura discovered Sasuke leaving in the middle of the night. She confronted him at the village gate, confessing her feelings and begging him to stay. She offered to go with him if he insisted on leaving, anything to keep him from walking into darkness alone. Her confession was heartfelt and desperate. Sasuke thanked her. Then he knocked her unconscious and left her on a bench. He could not take her into danger, and he could not stay. The quest for revenge mattered more than anything else. He joined the Sound Four and walked away from the hidden leaf. Sakura awoke and immediately found Naruto, begging him to bring Sasuke back. Naruto, who had declared Sasuke his best friend and rival, promised he would. Tsunade assembled a retrieval team led by Shikamaru Nara. The team consisted of Naruto, Shikamaru, Kiba Inuzuka with his dog Akamaru, Neji Hyuga, and Choji Akimichi. 5 Genin were sent to stop the Sound Four and retrieve Sasuke. The mission was classified as A rank, far above what Genin should handle. But experienced Jonin was still recovering from the invasion. Tsunade took a calculated risk, betting on the new generation's strength. The retrieval team pursued Sasuke and the Sound Four into the forest. The enemy used various tactics to slow pursuit, including trapping the team in barriers. Each member of the retrieval team faced one of the Sound Four in individual battles, sacrificing themselves to let the others continue forward. Choji Akimichi fought Jirobo, the strongest member of the Sound Four in physical power. Choji was sensitive about his weight, having been mocked for it throughout his childhood. Only Shikamaru had befriended him, seeing past the appearance to the kind person beneath. In this battle, Choji used his clan's pills that dramatically increased power at great physical cost. He defeated Jirobo, but collapsed from the drug's side effects, his heartbeat stopping. Shikamaru stayed behind to ensure Choji received medical attention, his friend's sacrifice weighing heavily. Neji Hyuga faced Kidomaru, a Sound Four member who specialized in long-range combat using spider-like abilities. Kidomaru could create threads and weapons from his body, attacking from hidden positions. Neji's Byakugan could see in all directions with only one blind spot directly behind the first thoracic vertebra. Kidomaru studied Neji's movements and calculated the position of this blind spot precisely. He created an arrow designed to pierce through that exact point. Neji, aware of the danger, still chose to take the hit rather than dodge and risk Kidomaru escaping to attack his retreating teammates. The arrow struck true, piercing through Neji's shoulder near his spine. But Neji had rotated his body slightly at the last moment, moving his blind spot just enough that the arrow missed his vital organs. With the spider thread connecting the arrow to Kidomaru's location, Neji sent chakra along the thread and struck Kidomaru's heart from a distance. Both fighters collapsed, but Neji survived. Kiba and Akamaru fought Sakon and Ukon, twins who could merge their bodies together and even merge with opponents to attack from inside. The battle went poorly for Kiba initially. The twins were stronger and more coordinated. When they merged with Kiba's body to destroy him from within, Akamaru made a desperate move. He used a soldier pill to transform into a copy of Kiba. Then they used the two-headed wolf technique while one of the twins was partially merged with Kiba. The resulting transformation pulled the enemy's cells apart. Kiba won, but was left barely conscious, unable to continue. Naruto caught up with Sasuke at the Valley of the End, a location marked by 2 massive statues. The statues depicted Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage, and Madara Uchiha, a legendary Uchiha who had fought Hashirama long ago. It was symbolically appropriate that the last confrontation between the Uchiha survivor and the inheritor of the first Hokage's Will of Fire occurred at this place. Their battle was fierce and emotional. Sasuke used his cursed seal's power, transforming into a stronger form with wings of cursed energy. Naruto tapped into the Nine-Tails chakra, red energy surrounding him like a cloak. They clashed with their ultimate techniques. Naruto created a Rasengan, while Sasuke used Chidori. The two attacks met in a massive explosion of energy. In the moment of collision, memories flashed between them. They recalled training together, eating meals together, the gradual formation of a bond neither had possessed before. Sasuke's face showed conflict. Some part of him did not want to leave, but Itachi's shadow loomed too large. The desire for revenge overwhelmed all other considerations. Sasuke's Chidori, enhanced by the cursed seal, overwhelmed Naruto's Rasengan. Sasuke stood over Naruto's defeated form. For a moment, he considered killing Naruto. Itachi had told him that to gain the Mangekyo Sharingan, the ultimate evolution of the eye technique, an Uchiha must kill their closest friend. Naruto qualified as that person now, but Sasuke could not do it. He would not gain power by following Itachi's path exactly. He would find his own way to strength. Sasuke left Naruto unconscious by the waterfall and continued to Orochimaru's hideout. The retrieval team failed. Naruto awakened in a hospital bed with his injuries severe. When Sakura visited and saw his tears, she understood without words that Sasuke was gone. Naruto blamed himself for being too weak. He had promised to bring Sasuke back and failed. The failure became a weight he carried, a promise unfulfilled. 2.5 years passed. Naruto left the Hidden Leaf to train with Jiraiya, traveling from place to place while learning advanced techniques. The training transformed Naruto from an enthusiastic but clumsy genin into a formidable ninja. Their journey took them across multiple countries, from mountain villages where Naruto learned to harness natural energy, to coastal towns where he practiced water walking for hours until his feet bled, to forests where he fought wild animals to sharpen his instincts. Jiraiya's teaching methods were unconventional and often frustrating. He would disappear for days to gather intelligence or research for his novels, leaving Naruto to train alone with only scrolls and instructions. But these periods of solitude taught Naruto self-reliance and problem-solving. When Jiraiya returned, he would test Naruto's progress through surprise attacks or impossible challenges. Naruto learned to think on his feet, to adapt mid-battle, to turn disadvantages into advantages. The physical training was grueling. Jiraiya pushed Naruto through exercises that built strength, speed, and endurance far beyond what the academy ever demanded. Naruto would run up mountains carrying enormous weights, his legs burning with effort. He practiced the Rasengan thousands of times until he could form it with one hand, then while moving, then while dodging attacks. The technique that once required all his concentration became as natural as breathing. But the most important training involved the Nine-Tails. Jiraiya taught Naruto to communicate with Kurama, to understand the demon's hatred and pain rather than simply fearing it. They would enter Naruto's mindscape together, standing before the massive cage that held the fox. Jiraiya showed Naruto how to draw chakra without letting the demon's consciousness leak through, how to maintain control even when rage and fear threatened to overwhelm him. It was dangerous work. Several times, Naruto nearly lost himself to the Nine-Tails' influence, and only Jiraiya's intervention saved him. Through these encounters, Naruto began to see Kurama as more than just a monster or a source of power. The demon was a prisoner, trapped and alone, filled with rage at its captivity. Naruto understood loneliness. He understood being seen as a monster. These commonalities did not create friendship, not yet, but they created the foundation for eventual understanding. Jiraiya also taught Naruto about the world beyond the Hidden Leaf. They visited places where previous wars had left their scars, villages destroyed and never rebuilt, orphans who grew up without knowing peace. Naruto saw the cost of conflict firsthand. Jiraiya spoke about his own failures, about students he had trained who chose dark paths, about his inability to prevent wars despite his power. These conversations shaped Naruto's understanding of what it meant to be a ninja, what it meant to protect, what it truly took to bring peace. Ninjutsu theory became clearer under Jiraiya's patient explanation. Naruto learned about chakra natures, how different ninja had affinities for different elements. His own affinity was wind, a rare and versatile nature. Jiraiya taught him to slice leaves with wind chakra and introduced him to the idea of eventually combining that nature with the Rasengan, though the training remained incomplete. The complexity of combining shape manipulation and nature transformation in a single technique proved beyond even Naruto's improved skills. They remained aware of Akatsuki's movements during their travels. These meetings were brief and dangerous. Jiraiya would hide Naruto while engaging the criminals long enough to escape. Through these encounters, Naruto learned about the organization hunting him, about their power and their ruthlessness. He learned that Itachi was among them, information that made his promise to bring Sasuke home even more complicated. Strategic thinking improved through constant practice. Jiraiya would set up scenarios, ambushes, and puzzles that forced Naruto to think beyond his usual head-first approach. Naruto learned to gather intelligence, to analyze opponents' weaknesses, to work with limited information. His tactics became more sophisticated, though his fundamental fighting style remained aggressive and overwhelming. By the end of those 2.5 years, Naruto had grown in every measurable way. He was faster, stronger, smarter. His chakra control had improved dramatically. His jutsu library had expanded. But more than physical growth, Naruto had matured in his understanding of the ninja world and his place in it. He carried Jiraiya's teachings, not just in his techniques, but in his philosophy. The old man's wisdom about bonds, about peace, about never giving up, became part of who Naruto was. Sakura trained under Tsunade, becoming a medical ninja of remarkable skill. She learned to concentrate chakra into her fists for devastating physical strength, mimicking Tsunade's fighting style. She overcame her earlier weakness, transforming from someone who needed protection into someone who could protect others. Sasuke trained under Orochimaru, learning various jutsu and growing stronger. But Orochimaru's interest in Sasuke's body as a vessel created tension. Sasuke knew the criminal planned to take over his body eventually. He intended to gain enough power to kill Itachi before that happened, then presumably kill Orochimaru as well. The world of ninja changed during those years. Akatsuki became more active, their plan to capture all tailed beasts accelerating. Several Jinchuriki were captured, their fates grim as their tailed beasts were taken. The organization proved extraordinarily powerful, with each member possessing strength equivalent to an entire elite squad. When Naruto returned to the Hidden Leaf at age 16, he looked older and more mature. He wore a different outfit, black and orange, instead of his previous bright orange jumpsuit. His skills had increased dramatically. He was taller, stronger, and more capable. But his core personality remained unchanged. He was still loud, still determined, still refusing to abandon his promise to bring Sasuke home. Team 7 reformed with a new member. Sai joined to replace Sasuke, a young man from an organization called Root, who had been trained to suppress his emotions. Sai was skilled but socially awkward, not understanding normal human interaction. He called Naruto names based on physical appearance and commented on Sakura's body in ways that earned him punches. His attempts to learn about friendship and bonds were clumsy but genuine. Yamato became their temporary leader, a Jonin with the rare ability to use wood-style jutsu. He had cells from the first Hokage implanted in him as a child during experiments, giving him this ability. More importantly, his wood style could suppress the Nine Tails chakra, making him able to stop Naruto if the demon's power went out of control. Team 7's first major mission was to find and retrieve Sasuke, the same objective that had failed years ago. They tracked Orochimaru's movements and investigated his hideouts. During one mission, they encountered Sasuke briefly. The reunion was painful. Sasuke showed no interest in returning. He was cold to his former teammates, viewing them as obstacles to his revenge against Itachi. Naruto saw how much Sasuke had changed and grown. The gap between them had not closed during their time apart. If anything, it had widened. Sasuke could now use Chidori variants and had developed his Sharingan further. Naruto felt the old frustration return, the sense that no matter how much stronger he became, Sasuke remained ahead. Meanwhile, Akatsuki successfully captured more tailed beasts. The one-tails was extracted from Gaara, killing the boy who had become Kazekage of his village. Team 7 plus additional support rushed to save Gaara. Sakura and an elderly woman named Chiyo faced Sasori of the Red Sand, an Akatsuki member who created puppets from human corpses and controlled them in battle. The fight revealed Sakura's growth. She dodged poison and destroyed dozens of puppets, while Chiyo controlled her movements like a puppet, sharing decades of combat experience through direct manipulation. When Sasori revealed he had turned himself into a puppet to achieve immortality, Sakura still found a way to destroy his core. Sasori, impressed by her determination, gave her information about one of Orochimaru's spies before dying. Naruto faced Deidara, Sasori's partner, who used explosive clay sculptures as weapons. The battle raged across the desert. Naruto's improved speed and the addition of Kakashi to the fight eventually drove Deidara away, but not before the enemy expressed interest in fighting Sasuke, whom he had apparently encountered recently. Chiyo used a forbidden jutsu to revive Gaara, sacrificing her own life in the process. The old woman, who had created much of the puppet techniques Sasori used and bore some responsibility for his darkness, chose to believe in the younger generation. Gaara returned to life, the one-tails gone from his body, but his will to protect his village stronger than ever. The Hidden Leaf continued hunting for information about Sasuke and Orochimaru. Naruto's frustration grew as each lead ended in disappointment. His promise to Sakura and to himself weighed on him constantly. He needed to become stronger still, strong enough to face Sasuke as an equal and bring him home. Jiraiya began investigating Akatsuki's leader, a mysterious figure called Pain who ruled the Hidden Rain village. Jiraiya had once trained 3 orphans in that village during a previous war, children who should have died but survived through determination. One of those children was Nagato, who possessed the Rinnegan, the most legendary eye technique in existence, even more rare than the Sharingan or Byakugan. Jiraiya infiltrated the Hidden Rain village alone. What he discovered chilled him. Pain was not one person, but 6 bodies, all controlled by someone using the Rinnegan. The 6 bodies were called the 6 Paths of Pain, each possessing different abilities. They could share vision, making them almost impossible to ambush. Their techniques included gravitational manipulation, summoning massive creatures, absorbing jutsu, and mechanizing their bodies with weapons. Jiraiya fought desperately, using Sage Mode, a powerful technique he learned from the toads of Mount Myaboku. Sage Mode enhanced physical abilities and chakra exponentially by drawing on natural energy. Even with this power, Jiraiya could barely fight the 6 Paths of Pain. The battle took him through the Hidden Rain village, a place he had once protected, where he had once trained 3 orphans and dared to hope he could break the cycle of hatred. Now those same streets witnessed his final moments. He managed to defeat several bodies through strategy and experience. He uncovered the secret of how the 6 paths shared vision and worked together. He trapped one in a genjutsu powerful enough to make even a Path of Pain question reality. But there were too many, and they adapted to his techniques even as he adapted to theirs. When Pain's black chakra rods pierced his body, Jiraiya knew the wound was fatal. His arm was torn off, his throat crushed. He sank beneath the water of the village's lake, blood clouding around him as he descended into darkness. He could not move. He could barely think through the pain. He should have died there, drowned and forgotten. But Jiraiya had always been stubborn. With his last strength, he carved a code onto the back of Fukasaku, his toad companion. The message contained the secret he had learned, the truth that might allow someone to defeat pain. His hand trembled as he carved each character. The water filled his lungs. Darkness crept in from the edges of his vision. As Jiraiya died, his thoughts turned to Naruto. Memories flooded through his fading consciousness. The little boy who pranked the village for attention. The student who never gave up, who turned disadvantage into strength. The young man who changed everyone he met through sheer force of determination and kindness. Jiraiya had failed to bring Orochimaru and Nagato back from darkness. He had failed to prevent wars. He had failed at so many things. But Naruto represented his hope for the future. Naruto was the protagonist of the story that Jiraiya's life had been telling. If anyone could bring peace to the ninja world and break the cycle of hatred, it would be Naruto. His final thought was regret that he would not see how the story ended. He would not witness Naruto become Hokage. He would not be there to celebrate when his student achieved the dream they shared. But perhaps that was fitting. The old generation had to make way for the new. His death might be the push Naruto needed to truly grow into his potential. Jiraiya smiled beneath the water as consciousness faded. His last feeling was pride. The news of Jiraiya's death devastated Naruto. His master, mentor, and father figure was gone. The man who taught him to be a ninja, who gave him confidence, who believed in him when few others did, had died alone in the rain. When Tsunade told him, Naruto's mind simply could not accept it. Jiraiya was too strong, too clever, too important. He could not be dead. But the evidence was undeniable. Jiraiya was gone. Naruto collapsed under the grief. For a time, he could not function. The pain was overwhelming. He walked through the village without seeing it. Memories of Jiraiya everywhere. The places they trained. The ramen stand where Jiraiya bought him meals. The bookstore where the old man got embarrassed buying his own novels. Every corner held a ghost. Naruto had lost people before, but never someone who meant this much. Never someone who had become a parent in everything but name. Iruka and Shikamaru helped Naruto process his grief. They sat with him through the worst of it, not trying to hurry his mourning or diminish his pain. They reminded him of Jiraiya's belief in him. The best way to honor Jiraiya's memory was to live up to his expectations, to continue growing stronger and working toward peace. Naruto's grief transformed into determination. He would master the techniques Jiraiya taught him and confront pain himself. He would prove that his master's faith was not misplaced. He would become the protagonist of the story Jiraiya believed in. Naruto traveled to Mount Mayaboku to learn Sage Mode properly. The journey itself was unlike any normal travel. Gamabunta reverse summoned Naruto, pulling him through a dimensional pathway to the sacred home of the Toads. When Naruto arrived, he found himself in a realm that defied normal geography, a place where giant toads lived among ancient temples and natural energy flowed thick in the air. The great toad sage greeted him, an ancient being so old that he dozed constantly and often forgot what he was saying mid-sentence. But when lucid, the sage possessed wisdom from thousands of years. He told Naruto that Jiraiya had been prophesied to train a student who would either save or destroy the world. Naruto might be that student. The weight of this prophecy pressed on Naruto alongside his grief. The training began under Fukasaku and Shima, two elderly toads married for centuries who taught Sage Mode to select few humans. They explained that natural energy existed everywhere, flowing through the earth and air and living things. Sage Mode allowed a user to draw on this energy, dramatically increasing their power. But the process was dangerous. Natural energy did not distinguish between friend and foe. Draw too much, and it would overwhelm you, turning you into a stone toad statue permanently. The path to Sage Mode was littered with the failures of those who tried and were consumed. The first step was learning to sit absolutely still. For someone like Naruto, whose defining trait was constant motion and energy, this proved nearly impossible. Fukasaku used a stick to strike Naruto every time he fidgeted. Hours passed with Naruto sitting on a stone platform trying to find stillness. His muscles cramped. His mind wandered. Every instinct screamed to move. But gradually, painfully, Naruto learned to quiet his body and open himself to natural energy. When Naruto first felt natural energy flowing into him, the sensation was overwhelming. It felt like the world itself was pouring power through his body. His skin took on the texture of stone as toad characteristics began manifesting. Fukasaku had to strike him with oil from a special fountain to stop the transformation before it became permanent. Naruto had drawn far too much natural energy, unable to balance it with his own chakra. The near-death experience was terrifying but necessary. Naruto learned what happened when control slipped. The training progressed in stages. First, Naruto learned to sense natural energy, then to draw it in measured amounts, then to balance it perfectly with his physical and spiritual energy. The ratio had to be exact. Too little natural energy and Sage Mode would not activate. Too much, and the Toad transformation would begin. Fukasaku explained that Jiraiya had never fully mastered Sage Mode, always maintaining some Toad characteristics when he used it. Naruto aimed to surpass his master. Practice made the process easier, but never easy. Naruto would sit for hours, drawing in natural energy and holding the balance. The Toads threw obstacles at him, both literal and figurative. They created distractions. They attacked him mid-meditation. They set time limits. Every challenge was designed to prepare him for using Sage Mode in real combat, where enemies would not wait for him to achieve stillness. Learning to enter Sage Mode while in combat proved even harder. Natural energy required stillness to gather, but battle was constant movement. This seemed an impossible contradiction. How could he remain still while fighting? Naruto developed a workaround using shadow clones. He could leave clones in safe locations to gather natural energy, sitting in meditation while the real Naruto fought. Then, when needed, he would dispel the clones. The gathered energy transferred to him instantly through the shadow clone's unique connection to its creator, allowing him to enter Sage Mode mid-battle. This innovation impressed even Fukasaku. No previous student had thought to use shadow clones this way. It required enormous chakra reserves to maintain combat clones while also creating meditation clones. Most ninja could not do it. But Naruto's vast chakra, a gift from being Uzumaki clan and carrying the Nine Tails, made it possible. He had turned what others saw as a limitation into a strength. By the time his training completed, Naruto had transformed once again. Sage Mode granted him enhanced strength, speed, and sensory abilities beyond normal human limits. He could sense chakra signatures from vast distances. He could predict attacks through feeling shifts in natural energy. His physical power increased exponentially. And most importantly, he had honored Jiraiya's teachings by mastering something his mentor had only partially achieved. While Naruto trained at Mount Myoboku, events accelerated elsewhere. Sasuke finally confronted Itachi, tracking his brother down with the help of his team, which consisted of Suigetsu, Karin, and Jugo. The battle between the Uchiha brothers was intense and deeply personal. They used techniques that pushed both to their limits. Sasuke unleashed every skill he had developed, combining Orochimaru's teachings with his own innovations. Itachi fought with his usual devastating precision, using Amaterasu, black flames that burned everything they touched and could not be extinguished. He used Tsukuyomi again, trapping Sasuke in Genjutsu. But Sasuke had prepared for years specifically to counter his brother's techniques. He resisted the Genjutsu and matched Itachi's Sharingan with his own. As the battle reached its climax, something unexpected occurred. Itachi stumbled. He coughed blood. His movements became weaker. Sasuke realized his brother had been sick, possibly dying already. When Itachi finally fell, he did not strike Sasuke down. Instead, he tapped Sasuke's forehead, a gesture of affection from their childhood, and whispered an apology before dying. Sasuke collapsed from exhaustion, his revenge finally achieved but feeling hollow. Then Obito appeared, a man wearing a mask who called himself Madara Uchiha. He revealed the truth about Itachi, a truth the Hidden Leaf had hidden for years. The Uchiha clan had planned a coup d'etat against the Hidden Leaf. They felt marginalized and suspected after the Ninetales attack, isolated to one section of the village. The clan's leadership decided rebellion was their only option. Itachi had been assigned by the village's leadership to act as a double agent, reporting on the clan's plans. But the coup would have resulted in civil war, which would have weakened the Hidden Leaf and invited other villages to attack. Countless people would die. The third Hokage and his advisors made a brutal calculation. They ordered Itachi to massacre the Uchiha clan before the coup could begin. Itachi was 13 years old when he received this mission. Itachi accepted to prevent war, but he negotiated one condition. Sasuke, who was innocent and only 8 years old, would be spared. Itachi would bear the hatred and become the villain in Sasuke's eyes. He made himself the focus of Sasuke's revenge, giving his brother a goal to pursue and a reason to grow stronger. Every cruel word Itachi spoke, every time he hurt Sasuke, was designed to make Sasuke hate him enough to kill him one day. Itachi had been sick with a terminal illness, his body failing. He had prolonged his life through sheer will specifically to die by Sasuke's hand. The battle was designed to push Sasuke to awaken his Mangekyo Sharingan and to let Sasuke have his revenge. Itachi's final act was to seal Orochimaru's presence out of Sasuke's cursed seal, protecting his brother even in death. This revelation shattered Sasuke's understanding of everything. His brother had not been a monster. Itachi had been a hero who sacrificed his reputation, his family, and his relationship with Sasuke to protect the village. The true villains were the Hidden Leaf's leadership who ordered the massacre. Sasuke's grief and rage turned from Itachi toward the Hidden Leaf village itself. Obito encouraged this anger, revealing his own plans. He claimed to be working toward a new world without suffering, manipulating Sasuke's emotions to recruit him for Akatsuki's goals. Sasuke, consumed by anger and betrayal, agreed to work with Obito. But his new goal was not peace. He wanted to destroy the Hidden Leaf village that had ordered his clan's death. Back in the Hidden Leaf, Pain finally attacked. The 6 Paths of Pain appeared in the village, demanding Naruto's location. When the village refused and fought back, Pain demonstrated overwhelming power. He destroyed the village systematically, killing countless ninja and civilians. Pain's abilities were terrifying in combination. The Deva Path controlled gravity, pushing and pulling with devastating force. The Asura Path transformed its body into weapons and missiles. The Animal Path summoned massive creatures. The Preta Path absorbed any jutsu directed at it. The Human Path could rip souls from bodies. The Naraka Path could repair the other bodies and interrogate through Cha. Tsunade used all her chakra to protect people during the assault, ensuring many survived who otherwise would have died. But she exhausted herself completely, falling into a coma. The village's leadership collapsed just when they needed it most. Naruto arrived during Pain's attack, entering the village on the back of giant toads with all the confidence of a fully trained Sage Mode user. His appearance rallied the defenders. Finally, someone who might match Pain had entered the battle. The fight between Naruto and Pain was extraordinary. Naruto used Sage Mode's enhanced abilities to counter the 6 Paths' various techniques. He analyzed their abilities and found weaknesses. When one body absorbed his jutsu, he used physical attacks. When they shared vision, he created diversions. He destroyed the bodies one by one through clever strategy and overwhelming power. But the final body, the Deva Path controlled by Nagato's main consciousness, proved the most dangerous. It used catastrophic planetary devastation, creating a massive sphere of gravitational force that pulled everything toward it, intending to trap Naruto in a satellite prison. Naruto responded by tapping into the Nine-Tails' power more deeply than ever before. The Nine-Tails' chakra nearly consumed Naruto's consciousness. He began to transform, growing additional tails of chakra. His father, the 4th Hokage, had left a failsafe in the seal that activated when Naruto reached a dangerous level of transformation. Minato's consciousness appeared within Naruto's mind, speaking to his son for the first time. Their exchange was brief but meaningful, reinforcing Naruto's resolve before Minato faded and Naruto regained control. Naruto tracked Nagato to his real location, finding an emaciated man connected to a mechanical device that kept him alive. Nagato's body had been destroyed by years of using the Rinnegan. His legs were useless. His body was skeletal. Only the machine and Konan's care kept him breathing. Beside him was Konan, the 3rd orphan Jiraiya had trained decades ago, the woman who had stayed loyal to Nagato through everything. Nagato could have killed Naruto by using his Rinnegan to pull out Naruto's soul, but he chose to talk instead. After so many years of spreading pain, he wanted to understand this boy, who seemed to embody Jiraiya's impossible idealism. Nagato explained his philosophy with the weight of experience and suffering. The ninja world was trapped in a cycle of hatred that stretched back generations. Villages fought wars over old grievances. People killed each other's families, creating orphans who grew up seeking revenge, who became killers themselves, who created new orphans. The cycle never ended. Each generation inherited the hatred of the last. Nagato had concluded that peace through understanding was impossible. Human nature was too flawed. People could not overcome their desire for revenge. The only way to stop war was through overwhelming pain, Nagato argued. If he created a weapon so terrible that its use would destroy entire nations, if everyone feared that weapon, then no one would dare start wars. The fear would create peace. He would be hated, yes, he would be called a monster. But that was acceptable if it meant future generations could live without war. His plan was built on the same sacrifice Jiraiya always spoke of, the willingness to bear darkness so others could know light. Naruto listened to Nagato's history of suffering. His parents had been killed by hidden leaf ninja who broke into their home searching for food, not even recognizing them as civilians. His best friend Yahiko had been killed by manipulation from Hanzo and the Hidden Rain village's corrupt leadership. Nagato had been forced to choose between Yahiko's life and Conan's, and Yahiko had thrown himself onto Nagato's blade rather than let Conan die. These were not abstract concepts. This was real pain, accumulated and crystallized into a philosophy of controlled destruction. Naruto understood the pain that drove Nagato. He had known loneliness, rejection, and loss. But Naruto refused to accept that the cycle was unbreakable. He believed people could understand each other, not through fear, but through genuine connection. He believed in Jiraiya's vision of peace, even if he did not yet know exactly how to achieve it. He would carry that dream forward and find a way, because giving up meant letting everyone who believed in him down. It meant admitting Jiraiya died for nothing. Nagato was moved by Naruto's conviction, seeing in him the idealism that Jiraiya always possessed, but backed by a strength Jiraiya never quite achieved. Nagato realized his methods had betrayed his mentor's teachings. Pain could force submission, but it could not create understanding. Fear could prevent war temporarily, but it would not change hearts. In his final act, Nagato used a technique called the outer path samsara of heavenly life, sacrificing his life to revive everyone he had killed in the hidden leaf. Thousands of people who died during Pain's attack returned to life. Nagato and Conan's bodies collapsed as the technique completed, one last act of faith in the student of his teacher. The hidden leaf began rebuilding immediately, but the respite was brief. The Fourth Shinobi World War was declared when Obito revealed himself to the 5 Kage at a summit. He explained Akatsuki's true goal, something called the Eye of the Moon plan. By capturing all 9-tailed beasts and combining their power, Obito claimed he could cast a genjutsu over the entire world, putting everyone in a dream state where they could experience perfect happiness. The 5 great ninja villages formed an unprecedented alliance, setting aside old rivalries to face the common threat. An army of ninja from all villages assembled. Naruto was hidden away on an island, protected because he was the 9-tails Jinchuriki, and therefore a primary target. But Naruto could not stay hidden while his friends fought. He escaped from the island with Killer Bee, the 8-tails Jinchuriki who had taught Naruto to work with the 9-tails consciousness. During their training together, Naruto had confronted the 9-tails directly in his mind, demanding cooperation. The demon fox, whose name was Kurama, initially refused, but Naruto's persistence and genuine empathy eventually reached even the demon's bitter heart. They formed a partnership, Kurama lending Naruto power willingly, rather than Naruto stealing it by force. The war escalated rapidly. Obito had an army of 100,000 white Zetsu creatures, plus reanimated legendary ninja brought back through the reanimation jutsu. The allied forces faced enemies who could not truly die and who possessed the skills that had made them famous in life. These reanimated warriors fought without emotion or fatigue, their bodies regenerating from any wound, their techniques as devastating as they had been in life. Among the reanimated were legends from every village. The third Raikage, known for his impenetrable lightning armor and overwhelming physical power, fought an entire division alone. His son, the current Raikage, had to face his father in battle, struggling with the emotional weight of fighting someone he loved while also recognizing the tactical necessity. The third Raikage's defense had no weakness except his own ultimate technique, a secret his son discovered only through desperation and grief. The second Mizukage and second Tsuchikage, rivals who had killed each other in life, were reanimated together. Their banter continued even in death, bickering while slaughtering allied ninja with techniques that combined water and earth in devastating ways. These were Kage-level opponents, individuals who had once led entire nations. Defeating them required multiple elite squads working in perfect coordination. The Gold and Silver Brothers, ancient warriors who had survived being eaten by the Nine Tails by eating its flesh from inside, wielded legendary treasures that could seal opponents with a word. They had nearly killed the second Hokage in life. In death, they proved even more dangerous, their bodies not limited by the injuries that had eventually stopped them. Naruto joined the war with his new Nine Tails chakra mode, a golden cloak of energy that gave him incredible speed and power. He could sense negative emotions and teleport to allies in need. His presence on the battlefield changed the momentum. He saved entire divisions from destruction, appearing where he was needed most like a golden flash. When ninja prepared to die facing impossible odds, Naruto would arrive with dozens of shadow clones, turning desperate last stands into victories. His father's nickname, the Yellow Flash, found new meaning in Naruto's golden aura. The reanimated ninja included many significant opponents. Itachi appeared, still under someone's control initially, but managing to break free through his iron will. He worked with Naruto and Killer Bee to stop Nagato, who had also been reanimated with all 6 bodies of pain restored. The battle tested everything Naruto had learned. Nagato's techniques remained as overwhelming as ever, but Naruto had grown strong enough to match them. Before disappearing as the reanimation jutsu was disrupted, Itachi told Naruto about Sasuke and asked Naruto not to give up on his brother. His final words were gratitude that someone like Naruto existed to potentially save Sasuke from darkness. Asuma, Shikamaru's teacher and a father figure to Team 10, appeared reanimated. Shikamaru had to fight his mentor, the man who taught him that protecting the next generation was a shinobi's duty. The battle forced Shikamaru to grow, to accept the weight of his teacher's final lesson, even while delivering the strategy that would seal Asuma's reanimated form. It was cruel poetry, the student surpassing the teacher by destroying him. The truth about Obito emerged during the battle in fragments and revelations. He had been Kakashi's teammate decades ago, a boy who dreamed of becoming Hokage despite being seen as talentless. During a mission in the Third Shinobi World War, Obito had been crushed by a boulder while protecting Kakashi and Rin. Half his body was destroyed. He gave Kakashi his Sharingan Eye as a final gift before the rocks buried him. Everyone thought Obito died that day. But Madara Uchiha had found him, a dying boy buried in rubble. Madara saved Obito's life using the cells of the first Hokage, replacing the destroyed half of his body with artificial tissue. Madara had been waiting for decades, prolonging his life through forbidden techniques, searching for someone to carry out his plan. Obito became that successor. Madara filled Obito's recovery with teachings about the cycle of hatred, about how the shinobi world was built on suffering, about how peace was impossible in reality. But what truly broke Obito was Rin's death. When he finally recovered and returned to find his teammates, he arrived just in time to see Kakashi's Chidori pierce through Rin's chest. He did not know that Rin had jumped into Kakashi's attack deliberately, that the hidden mist had sealed the three tails inside her and planned to use her as a weapon against the hidden leaf, that she chose death over becoming a tool to destroy her village. Obito saw only that his best friend had killed the girl they both loved. The trauma shattered his worldview. If someone like Kakashi could kill Rin, if someone as kind as Rin could die so young, then this world was truly hell. Madara's teachings suddenly made sense. Obito embraced the Eye of the Moon plan, believing that only in dreams could people find happiness, that reality offered nothing but pain and loss. He had worn the mask and called himself Madara for years, orchestrating wars and manipulating nations, all to gather the tailed beasts necessary for the genjutsu that would end all suffering. He convinced himself he was creating salvation, but facing Naruto forced him to confront the truth. Naruto had suffered as much as Obito, lost as much, endured loneliness and rejection and pain. Yet Naruto chose connection over isolation, hope over despair, reality over illusion. That difference, that choice, revealed the lie Obito had been living. Sasuke had his own journey during the war's early stages. He sought truth about the Hidden Leaf and the Uchiha massacre. Through Orochimaru's help, he reanimated the 4 previous Hokage to ask them directly about the village's history. The first Hokage explained the village's founding, the ideals behind it, and the difficult choices leaders must make. Sasuke heard multiple perspectives and wrestled with his conflicted feelings. Eventually, Sasuke decided to join the war on the side of the allied forces. Not because he forgave the Hidden Leaf, but because Obito's plan threatened to destroy everything, including any chance of properly judging the village's actions. Sasuke, along with the reanimated Hokage, arrived at the battlefield at a critical moment. Obito had become the Ten-Tails Jinchuriki, achieving power that rivaled the Sage of Six Paths, the legendary figure who created ninjutsu itself thousands of years ago. Even combined, the allied forces could barely slow Obito down. Naruto and Sasuke fought side by side once again, their combination techniques still effective despite years of separation. The truth about Obito emerged during the battle. He had been Kakashi's teammate decades ago, supposedly killed during a war. His love for a girl named Rin and his subsequent witnessing of her death had broken something in him. An older Madara Uchiha, the real one, had manipulated Obito's grief and twisted him toward the Eye of the Moon plan. Through combined effort, Naruto and Sasuke managed to extract the tailed beasts from Obito, but then Madara Uchiha himself was revived fully using a prepared technique. Madara was everything the legends claimed, a ninja of godlike power who had fought the first Hokage to a standstill. He quickly became the Ten-Tails Jinchuriki himself, achieving power even greater than Obito had possessed. The battle became desperate. Madara's abilities seemed limitless. He used Perfect Susanoo, a massive chakra warrior that could split mountains. He activated the infinite Tsukuyomi early, casting the genjutsu over the entire world through the moon. Only those specially protected or reanimated avoided its effects. Then an even greater threat emerged. Black Zetsu, thought to be Madara's creation, revealed its true nature. It was the will of Kaguya Otsutsuki, an ancient being from before the Sage of Six Paths. Black Zetsu hijacked Madara's body and transformed him into Kaguya herself, resurrecting the progenitor of all chakra. Kaguya Otsutsuki was the original source of chakra in the ninja world. She had consumed the fruit of the god tree 1,000 years ago and gained immense power. She viewed chakra as hers alone and saw humanity's use of it as theft. Her power included dimensional manipulation, creating spaces with different physical laws where she could trap opponents. She could disintegrate matter with her attacks, and was effectively immortal. Naruto and Sasuke received power from the Sage of Six Paths himself, his consciousness reaching across time to grant them abilities needed to seal Kaguya. Naruto gained the Sun Seal, and Sasuke gained the Moon Seal. Together, these seals could bind Kaguya, but they needed to touch her simultaneously while she was vulnerable. Team 7 reunited for this final battle. Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi fought together against a godlike opponent. Sakura's strength and medical abilities kept them alive through impossible attacks. Kakashi's strategic mind found openings in Kaguya's defenses. Obito, seeking redemption, sacrificed himself to protect them at a critical moment. Through teamwork and determination, they succeeded. Naruto and Sasuke touched Kaguya simultaneously with their seals, binding her. The Sage of Six Paths technique activated, sealing Kaguya and Black Zetsu away permanently. The infinite Tsukuyomi began to unravel as Kaguya's power faded. The world was saved, but one conflict remained. Sasuke revealed his true intention. He would kill the 5 Kage and take control of the tailed beasts himself. His vision of peace involved concentrating all hatred and darkness on himself. making himself the enemy that united the world. It was a twisted echo of Itachi's sacrifice, trying to be the darkness that defined the light. Naruto refused to let Sasuke walk this path. They faced each other at the Valley of the End once more, just as they had years ago. This time, both possessed power that reshaped the landscape. Sasuke used his perfect Susanoo enhanced by the tailed beast's chakra. Naruto used his six-path sage mode combined with Kurama's full cooperation. Their battle was apocalyptic in scale. They clashed with techniques that split the earth and altered the valley's geography. But beneath the destruction was a conversation through combat. Each blow carried meaning. Each technique was a statement about their philosophies and their bond. As their final techniques collided, both lost an arm in the explosion. They lay on the ground, unable to move, bleeding, but alive. Sasuke finally understood. Naruto had always acknowledged him, had always seen him. The rivalry Sasuke dismissed was real connection. Naruto's refusal to give up on him was not weakness, but the strongest form of love. Sasuke admitted defeat, not of strength, but of ideology. Naruto's way of enduring pain through connection was stronger than Sasuke's way of isolation and revenge. Sasuke released the tailed beasts and agreed to trust in Naruto's dream. Sakura arrived and healed both boys as much as she could. The three members of Team 7 sat together as the sun rose, battered but finally at peace. Kakashi, who had become the sixth Hokage after Tsunade retired, pardoned Sasuke of his crimes, acknowledging the boy's role in saving the world. The ninja world entered a period of recovery and rebuilding. The 5 great villages maintained their alliance, working together in ways that had seemed impossible years earlier. The next generation grew up in relative peace. The cycle of hatred weakened, if not completely broken. Naruto married Hinata Hyuga, the girl who had admired him since childhood and supported him through his darkest moments. Their wedding was a village celebration. Sasuke departed on a journey of redemption, seeking to protect the world from threats in the shadows. Sakura eventually joined him, and the two married as well. Years passed. Kakashi stepped down as sixth Hokage. The village needed a new leader, someone who embodied the next generation's hopes and dreams. Someone who had proven himself through impossible challenges and never wavered from his convictions. Naruto Uzumaki became the 7th Hokage. The boy who everyone once shunned, the class clown who failed repeatedly, the ninja who never gave up, stood on top of the Hokage mountain with the village looking to him for leadership. His dream had come true, but becoming Hokage was not the end of Naruto's story. It was a beginning. The role brought new challenges and responsibilities. He had a family now, with 2 children who needed their father. He had a village that depended on him. He had a world that still faced threats despite the war's end. Yet Naruto faced these challenges with the same spirit that had carried him through every trial. He believed in people. He refused to give up. He understood that true strength came from protecting those you loved and being willing to understand even your enemies. The boy who contained the Nine-Tails demon had become the man who changed the ninja world. His journey taught a simple truth that resonated across generations. Everyone faces darkness and pain. Everyone struggles with their path. But as long as you never give up, as long as you protect those precious to you, as long as you believe in tomorrow, you can overcome anything. Destiny is not fixed. The future is not written. One person's determination can inspire thousands and change the world. Naruto's story is one of transformation. From loneliness to connection, from weakness to strength, from outcast to leader, but most importantly, from hatred to understanding. He broke the cycle that had perpetuated suffering for generations, not through power alone, but through his refusal to let pain turn him bitter. The Hidden Leaf Village prospered under his leadership. The bonds between nations grew stronger. The next generation of ninja trained in an era where the great villages were allies rather than enemies. Children grew up with opportunities Naruto never had. The dream of lasting peace, the goal that so many had died pursuing, finally seemed achievable. And on quiet evenings, Naruto would sometimes stand on the Hokage monument and look over the village. He would remember everyone who helped him reach this point. Iruka, who first acknowledged him, Jiraiya, who believed in him and trained him, the third Hokage who protected him, his teammates who fought beside him, his teachers who guided him, his rivals who pushed him to improve, his wife and children who gave him reasons to keep protecting the future. The orange-clad boy who declared he would become Hokage despite everyone's doubts had achieved his dream through perseverance, friendship, and an unbreakable will. His story proved that where you start does not determine where you finish, that the Jinchuriki who contained a demon could become the hero who saved the world, that the dead last student could become the greatest Hokage. This is the story of Naruto Uzumaki, and it reminds us all that we too can overcome our struggles, break free from the expectations others place on us, and achieve things that once seemed impossible. We need only remember to never give up, to cherish our bonds with others, and to believe in ourselves even when no one else does.